This episode is brought to you by the fabulous members of the You Run Podcast Network, all available at yourunpodcast.com.
You pay for this.
No, you can't have that unless you pay for it. Let me try again.
You want to die tonight?
The dad jokes you tell sets the scene. I hang on every word lost in the screen. The passion for fear is contagious enough. You make me believe in Mark's overblown roundups. You run podcasts or a movie review, unveiling facts and playing games too. Your words paint pictures of darkness and dread, leaving me grinning long after I fled.
Release the demons.
Hello and welcome to the You Run Podcast Horror Movie Review. My name is Scott.
My name is Mark.
And I am decidedly out of practice because although you're hearing this a week from our last episode, I have had 2 entire weeks off laying in the sun.
We literally had a conversation before you press record and was like, I feel out of practice. I was like, you'll be fine, man. We'll bumble through the first 10 minutes and it'll all be natural. You didn't even make it past the first 3 seconds before you fucked it.
I literally went, oh, look, there's an intro. Click on that one. Oh, fuck, that's not the right one. We bring you horror movie reviews every single Monday. You vote for them in our Instagram polls. And we are continuing what was Brutal and Extreme Month, but I've now affectionately redubbed it Cruel Summer. This month, you've been picking some seriously dark movies, and you kicked us off with one that left me and Mark like in bits. And I'm hoping that we keep that up because we've done really flouncy, happy, fun stuff throughout July. And even I now, I want more of this. After last week, I want more extreme.
Do you understand my rage a little bit more now?
I kind of do, and as much as it pains me to say that, I don't think we'll do a horror adjacent month again. We'll do what we've always done and just throw a curveball. Yeah, exactly that. We have a great episode lined up today, though. We're going to be kicking things off with a brief synopsis of the movie, followed by a deeper dive into all the things that me and Mark think about this movie. It will be spoiler heavy, so if you haven't seen this movie, 1, where have you been? Why are you under a rock? And 2, maybe go and watch the film first before you dive into this, or don't. Like, I'm not your parent. Do whatever the fuck you want to do, but there's your warning anyway. Later in the episode, we are going to kick it off with getting your voices heard on your voicemails and also caption this before we play a game, a brand new spanking game that we've never played before, and me and Mark are not playing it. You are.
Ooh, exciting.
Very exciting. And
see, this is what worries me when you go on holiday, because you always come up with some mad shit when you come back.
Yeah, it comes with prizes and it comes with stakes and it comes with like a rolling total. It's really cool. We'll play it later.
Right, okay, cool.
Anyway, let's dive into this fun-packed episode. So this week we are following the drug rehabilitation of Mia as her friends take her to a cabin deep in the woods, steal all of her gear and lock her up to go cold turkey. On paper, this sounds like a fairly solid plan until one of her friends, who is an over-curious fuckwit who is incapable of reading warning labels, Mark, does the unthinkable. And it starts to fall apart in a very epic way. Rapey vines, evil incantations, a huge amount of anxiety. No, this is not working on set with Pedro Pascal. This is The Evil Dead 2013.
Dead by dawn.
I'm going to kick it off. I love this film.
I really, really do love this film as well. When it came out, it blew my mind. I thought it was like the greatest thing horror had seen in generations. I have to say, I do have a few issues on this latest rewatch. I haven't seen this movie in about 5, 6, maybe even 7 years. And there was a lot of things that I was like, that's not held up very well. And considering this only came out, 12 years ago, I expected it to be more relevant than it actually ended up being. Which is strange when people. One thing I noticed in particular, we spoke about it briefly up there, is the characters themselves. You always like, oh, the very stereotypical characters of. I never felt that on my first watch with this movie ever,
No.
and I didn't know whether that was because it was the time we were in, so the characters were of keeping of that time. It's like now when you go back and you're like, oh yeah, I know what you did last summer, stereotypical characters. And I'm like, I never remembered them being like that when I first watched it, but then now I watch it and I'm like, oh yeah, ha ha ha. And it's like we say stereotypical characters as if it's like a bad thing, but is it more just a product of its time than it is necessarily a trope of the character themselves? Because like I never felt that with this movie on a first watch, but this time around I was like, okay.
Yeah, and I think it is a little bit of a product of its time. It is very much a late 2000s movie. It had, or 2010s movie. It's got that kind of, that era of film has an aesthetic to it. And the
Yeah.
characters, very much like when you look at an 80s movie, all the characters are very much a certain thing. And the same with the 90s. This era of filmmaking has that same kind of vibe to it. One thing I would say, there are a couple of characters in here who do stand out from the crowd as unique and even now still hold that unique ability. One is Mia. I think she's arguably one of the greatest final girls in a horror movie. And the other is the dick with the book. Like his character is so fucking stupid from the minute he finds that book all the way through to his death. Everything he does, I'm like, you're an idiot. You're an absolute moron. And when I was watching it, I'm going, you and Mark would be the best of friends.
Because I literally watched this, I was like, yeah, man, I would do that. That makes sense. Why would you not be curious to see? Don't cut the barbed wire that's binding the book. Of course, cut the barbed wire. You have to know what's inside it. Open it up. Do not read this book. Come on, let's read it and see what's going on.
But I've got to ask, because this is one thing I said to Lisa when we were watching it. I may read it. I may open it. The chances are I would open it. Same as you, I'd cut the barbed wire off. I need to know what's in the box. I can't not. And then I'd open it and I'd see it saying, do not read, blah, 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 blah. And then I find the words. I would read that shit in my head if I'm on my own. Like, at no point would I read it out loud. If someone was there and they went, what does it say? I'd probably read it out loud. But on my own, in a room, in the basement, would you really read it out loud all on your own?
Of course I would. If somebody said to me, read it out loud, I would be like, hold on a second. Let me go in the garden and find the best stick staff that I can find. Let me get a bed sheet and make a cloak. And I would be summoning the shit out of that room. If I heard the distant rumbling, I'd be like, ooh, something's working here. And then I would keep going.
I like the rehab story in this. I think that's a really good premise for this. The fact that she is in recovery and her friends are
that's one of the biggest things that I really liked. Because as much as this is a standard cabin in the woods movie, instead of it just being a, hey, we're teen angsty kids that's going to go drink beer and swim in the lake, they have a purpose of being there that feels a little bit more grounded in reality and serves a purpose. And not only that, but it also makes the reasoning why they would stay there even longer when shit starts going wrong. You know, like instead of being like, no, we have to go. When Mia starts going crazy and losing her mind, it's like, no, it's the drugs. When we all know it's not the drugs, but the characters around her don't know that. And they're like, no, she's just seeing stuff. It's not real. In a normal movie, where the kids by the lake, if someone started doing that, you'd be like, listen to her. She's never done anything like this in her life. There is clearly a reason to listen to her when she's saying this kind of stuff. But with Mia, because she's going cold turkey, they do hallucinate. They do see things in that situation. Not that I'm speaking from experience, just from knowledge of people who have been through it.
You and me, we've never been off drinking drugs long enough to understand cold turkey feeling.
No, I've never been in recovery to understand how it feels. So therefore, but no, I mean, like you say, it's one of those. It's just, you know, in that moment that there's a reason why they're not listening to what she's saying. Whereas in most other cases, you'd be like, guys, come on, this is really stupid for you not to be paying attention to this clearly intelligent person who's never behaved like this before.
Yeah, and they even tee it up as well, where one of her but all of her friends say to her brother, "Look, she has to stay."
Mm.
And he's like, "If she asked me to take her home, I'm taking her home." And they're like, "She can't do this again. She's OD'd once. If she ODs again, she is going to die." And I think that's a really good setup for what we get later, where she's like, "I need to fucking go." And everyone says no. And she looks at her brother, and you see her brother look at her and go, "Oh, do you know what? I was all on board to do what you now want, but you lied to me about not ODing. And all of your friends now have told me you're going to die. So as much as I love you, fucking tough shit. You're
Yeah.
obviously having a bit of a mental break because of all the drugs, but I'm sorry, you were going to stay here." And it's really good, that scene. And I also love the fact that she just goes fine and then storms off, fucking steals the car keys, jumps out the window and goes for a drive. I'm like, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Well, I mean, she's trying to escape, and it doesn't go very, very well.
No, because she meets the she meets the
The
trees.
trees have learned violence.
Let's talk about the trees, because obviously it's very horrific in the first movie. We talked about it when we reviewed Evil Dead Rise last year.
Yeah,
And we said that one was handled very, very well, because we knew what was coming. We knew the insinuation. This one, I felt, although it wasn't graphic, but it was very much heavily more than insinuated as opposed to what Evil Dead Rise was. Evil
yeah.
Dead Rise sort of showcases it going up, but this one shows the full act itself. Where were
This
you on
one,
this?
this one for me is nowhere near as horrific as the original, because that is, we spoke about it. It's the most prolonged tree sexual assault in a movie ever. This, I think the addition of like her doppelganger, the
Mm.
demon Mia, effectively, I think that helps make it a little bit more palatable because it's not just a random tree vine; it's a thing that's come out of her mouth. And
Yeah,
again,
this one it kind of showcases more of a as a passing of a like an actual as an infection, if you will. But the original,
yeah,
it's just it doesn't, as much as we know what it is in that original movie, it doesn't showcase it very well. It just looks like an actual act of horrific supernatural situation sort of thing. Whereas
yeah,
this one is the, in fact, similar to what like if it was going in your mouth like as like a little alien spaceship being things, you know, when you get in like sci-fi movies. I can't think
yeah.
of one off the top of my
It-
head, but I know, like the
what
face
was?
hugger basically.
Do you know what it reminded me of on this rewatch? And I hate to say it because it's a terrible comparison. It's Jason Goes to Hell.
I haven't seen that one. What am I up to? I'm up to, I think I'm the one before New Blood, so 6. Is that as far as I'm in
Okay.
right now?
Yeah, yeah. So Jason Goes to Hell is like Jason is effectively an infectious disease, and it's a thing that
I've
little
seen the
slugs.
little worm thing on the front of the
Yeah, yeah.
VHS cover.
It reminded me of that. It gave me that kind of vibe. But again, I think this one is handled quite well. It's not handled as well as Evil Dead Rise, but again, that's a passage through time. The
Yep.
original, fucking horrific by today's standards. This one, not great by today's standard. Evil Dead Rise, okay, but in 10 years' time, people look back at that and go, "Oh my god, that was awful. That was so bad."
I think it just walks that perfect balance of being so close to the edge of not being okay, but still being okay,
Yeah,
which is something that FedeAlvarez does throughout this movie. I think everything he does is like just when he's about to cross a line, it kind of doesn't. Do you know what I mean? He's pushing things as far as they can comfortably go without being considered offensive or atrocious or like there's no denying this movie is a very violent and graphic movie. And I
yeah,
think, in my opinion, I know we live in an era of Terrifier movies. I think this is far worse than any of the Terrifier movies, purely
yeah,
based on not only the quality of the production value and how incredible the practical effects are, but due to the seriousness of the tone of the movie itself, that everything that's happening is so genuinely horrific. There's never any moments of comic relief or lightheartedness. It is just pure foot off the brake, let's go, violence, gore, death. You know, it's fucking rough, man. Do you know what I mean? In that sense, and I think for me, when you compare this to, let's say, Terrifier 3, the latest one, yes, there's some very horrendous things that happen in Terrifier 3. But the thing with Terrifier 3 is the production values are nowhere near as superior as what they are in here. I don't know in terms of budgets. That might just be a masterclass in special effects work. I think the effects work in Evil Dead 2013, 2013, look more realistic than anything we've seen in any Terrifier movie. It's very clear that is a sort of low budget production, student kind of, let's make some gory scenes. You can tell the skin effects are leathery and all the rest of it, but here it looks genuinely real. I know we spoke earlier about various moments of wonky CGI and stuff, but I think this is by far a lot more violent and gory than anything that we see, especially in mainstream cinema as well. Like, people talk about Terrifier being like, I can't believe they're showing this in cinema. This is insane. I'm like, I saw Evil Dead like when that came out. Like, that is worse. And that was 10 years ago.
And the thing is, the stuff that they do in Evil Dead is one after another after another. And every single person that becomes possessed, the gore and the things that happen to them gets progressively worse. And I really like that. Like the first one, the nurse is horrific, where she smashes the mirror, like hacks off half her face, like awful. Absolutely.
I think the thing that's really cool to me as well on the rewatch is that something that I didn't really pick up on back in the day was every single death and how they die is all foreshadowed within the first 10-15 minutes of the movie as they first get into the cabin.
Oh, is it?
Like, you see certain characters. So like the partner's girlfriend, she's like cutting meat with the meat cleaver, the electric meat cleaver, and these little nuances like that throughout about certain characters. They'll do certain things and they'll accidentally move the guy moved like the nail gun out of the way in like the shed or something like that. Like, you should get familiar with that because that's gonna fuck you up later. You know, there's a lot of things like that I was like, I didn't pick up on that last time, but now I'm like, I know that's how you're going to die. So when I see them interacting with these objects earlier on, and I have to think it was done deliberately, you know.
Yeah, of course,
But yeah, it's really, really clever stuff, and I was like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I like the change in Mia when they get her. Like when Mia goes full demon Mia and they end up slinging her down in the basement. Like that bit after she does that full-on projectile blood vomit over her friend, which is what gets her possessed. They sling her down in the basement. Her alter ego as Demon Mia is the comic relief. I know
the Deadites in this, right? Is it Deadites? Yeah. No, it was just because I was thinking that I was writing earlier about this movie, and I was like, I'm sure the Deadites, and then I was like, or is that it? Are they Deadites in it, or the things that are in his eyes?
No, they're Deadlights.
Deadlights. That's where the confusion was.
Yeah. But Mia produces the comic relief in this. The things she does as Deadite Mia are so unhinged that you shouldn't laugh, but I laughed multiple times. Like the bit where she's up and she's got her head, she's like, "You're all gonna die." Thought that was hilarious. The bit where she turns to her brother and goes, "When you come down here, I'll suck your cock, pretty boy." Fuck, I was crying with laughter. Like, he's like, "Fuck off, you're my sister." Like that I found really funny. And I think they tried to grab some of that comedy from the originals and literally just focus it to her because no one else has any moment that's hilarious.
Yeah, and that's one thing as well that I noticed more on this rewatch, because at the time I'd never really seen Evil Dead 2. I think I only first watched Evil Dead 2 probably about 2 or 3 years ago. And I noticed that this is a combination of the two movies, very much in terms of homage. It's a that's a weird thing to say because Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2 are pretty much the same movie, give or take the tone.
Evil Dead 2 is a remake of the Evil Dead.
Yeah, with an amplified slapstick tone to it. But there is a lot of stuff from Evil Dead 2 here, and there's a lot of stuff from the original Evil Dead here as well, which brings me to my next point of conversation. This is a sequel, right?
It is,
and I think we need to address it.
we're gonna, because you and me have spoken about this at length, and I've actually put it in facts to put that to bed. I've
Right,
got
we'll save it and we'll have a conversation about it later on in facts then, because it's one thing that really annoys me, because I was writing a review for this movie and I was like, do I just deal with the fucking backlash and have a conversation about how this is a sequel now as opposed to a remake? Because I just cannot be asked with the comment thread.
The thing is, I've not that long ago posted on TikTok about this being a wonderful sequel, purely to incite that rage. Like, you and me are very different on social media. You want people to like your post, read your post, go, that's great, wonderful. Whereas I go, I'm going to say something that I know I'm right, but I know no one's going to believe me, and it's going to piss everyone off and they get really angry at me. And
yeah, that's the difference. You see, you like to wind people up, but whereas when people question my intelligence on horror movies, so as I put a statement out and being like, this is the greatest sequel ever, and then loads of people came out being like, it's a remake, I would lose my shit. Whereas you would purposefully do it just to piss people off.
and then hit them with, here's a director's quote. Here's a link to the time the director said it. Have fun with that. And it was a while ago now, but you had exactly this conversation on Instagram, and you actually DM'd me to come and help you.
Yeah, I called for backup, man.
You're like, this bloke is causing me so much headache. Can you come and help me with this? And I just rocked up with a link. Director said this on this link. Fuck you. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye now.
But again, that's why it's so infuriating, because when you're doing stuff on social media and you talk about this movie, people who actually understand that this is a sequel as opposed to a remake, you get those fucking idiot trolls on the internet who come out and say, actually, this is a remake and this is probably one of the best remakes. I'm like, yes, it's a very good movie, but it's not a remake.
Yeah, we'll cover all the facts around it when we get to facts, but yeah, anyone who thinks this is a remake, you are wrong. If you don't believe me, go hit Google, and if you still don't believe me, when we get to facts, we'll prove our point.
Yes.
The murders and the gore and the stuff that comes in this after her change, when she's down in the basement and almost kind of willing other people to get possessed, is some of the most unhinged, graphic, disgusting, brilliantly shot stuff. The girlfriend with the electric meat saw. Also, I was going to raise. She's
my favorite.
I was going to raise this earlier. Who goes to a cabin and does a roast beef? What the fuck is that all about?
And how would they cook that roast beef? Is what I've cooked roast beef. I've cooked roast beef on numerous occasions, and that shit takes like 6 to 7 hours minimum. I just can't see this happening in this cabin.
Especially not when they get there and it's been broken in. They've got no lights, no water, no power, but all of a sudden she's done a perfectly fucking cooked roast dinner in an hour. But yeah, at least she puts the meat cleaver to decent use when she uses it on her arm.
So fucking good, man. She's my favorite death.
I don't know if I particularly like the arm coming off as much as I like the dickhead book guy with the nail gun. Him firing the nail gun at her is fabulous.
Oh, and it's just popping away in her face and shit. Yeah, man, that's really, really cool stuff. She looks like something out of like Night of the Demons when she's all fucked up like that. It's really, really cool. Let's talk about what your actual, because I mean, we're muddling through and going all over the place. Obviously, everybody goes out one way or the other. Which one is your favorite in terms of the 4 characters who bite the dust?
I think my favorite is probably the guy who opened the book, purely because he dies about 11 times.
He's like a proper hero throughout this movie in terms of his damage. I'm like, fuck, man, did you find some green herb along the way? How are you still here?
Yeah, he gets stabbed in the chest, the most horrific wound ever, which gets taped up with duct tape.
And again, this one thing before you go on, that this movie, man, you know my love for duct tape. We've spoken about it on various episodes in the past. It fixes everything, and this movie showcases that perfectly. Every time someone takes an injury, there's just a roll of duct tape nearby. Even when she gets her arm off with the electric saw, he literally just duct tapes it up. I'm like, that is brilliant. I hope you got sponsored for this.
Duct tape is great. I'll be honest. I use duct tape a lot for many, many things. I'm currently building our new recording studio, and inside that,
duct tape.
There's lots of joints and things that I've sealed with duct tape before I then board the inside because it's easier.
Yeah, and it's perfect.
Yeah, and it never comes off. But yeah, I like him because he gets that stab, he gets the duct tape, then he gets fucked up with the nail gun, then he gets fucked up with a hammer, then he gets fucked up with a crowbar.
That crowbar to the head, man, I was like, you are dead. Like, I don't care. The worst one is when he puts his hand up and it just like splits and his hand just goes. I'm like, oh fuck, man. Like, I felt it happen, and then she just repeatedly beat him in the head. I was like, oh my God. And like the nail gun one, when again he puts his hand up and it nails to his chest. Like, he pulls a nail out to get it out of his chest. I'm like, oh my God, this is fucking mental.
The thing is, though, he does all of that, and you're like, as far as I'm concerned, he died ages ago. And then he rocks up in the basement as the big hero and knocks out Mia, and he's like, the brother's like, "Are you okay?" And he's sort of sat there, like, you can see he's lost the will to live. And he's like, you know what? No, not really. No, I'm kind of not okay.
Yeah. He was just left there. But we knew he was dead at that point. There was no coming back because he put him in the water and he floated off. And I was like, yeah, all right. But I liked him a lot. I felt like if I was in a horror movie, he was me.
100%. And I said it multiple times when I was watching it with Lisa. Like, when he started reading, I'm like, it's Mark. She's like, he wouldn't read it out loud on his own. It's like, he would. He really would. And like later on, when he's like down and he's like picks up the nail gun, he fires at her and he runs out and then he just screams at her. I was like, that's Mark. Like, he's injured. He's not going anywhere. He's just going to try and scare her away by making a loud noise. He's literally going to go loud noises in the hope she leaves.
Oh, man. Never, ever have I related to a character more than I have with this movie.
What was your favourite death of the characters?
For me, it was the dude. Like, I don't remember names in this movie other than Mia, because she's absolutely incredible. I don't remember a single character's name, but for me, it was Mia's brother's girlfriend. Just because she's like the pretty and pink princess throughout this entire movie. And then when she starts to become possessed, again, this is a massive Evil Dead 2 homage. When you get the Evil Dead 2 homages throughout with the hand, you always think somebody's hand's going to become the possessed hand. But hers goes full active mode with it, and she goes to cut it off, and you get Mia at the basement door again. She's like, no, don't do it, and she finally just starts doing it, and you're like, oh man, like, I didn't think you as a character would have the bollocks to be able to pull off something like this. And she does. She severs it off, man, and it's just awful. But then after that, she goes on this big tirade when she becomes a full Deadite and starts with the nail gun and the crowbar. And it's when she gets that shotgun and it blows her other arm off and she's just walking around like a mannequin. And I'm like, oh, this is fucking rough. And then she turns back again. And it's a particular scene as she's crawling up to her boyfriend and she's like, oh my God, what's happened? My face. Why does it hurt? And she's just got all these nails sticking out. And I'm like, oh, this is just not nice, you know? Like, as much as I didn't particularly like her as a character, I didn't think she was very warming. But because she was that pretty and pink girl from Zombieland 2, that when she suffered the most horrific injuries out of everybody in terms of the way she went out, I just don't feel like it warranted it for her. So for me, I always that's my particular favorite out of the movie.
Yeah, and I'm going to say something now. Shaun of the Dead has ruined anyone having an arm off in a movie, because as soon as her arm got shot off, I literally sat on my sofa and went, she's got an arm off. One scene in this that I find particularly uncomfortable, and it always is one that makes me genuinely wince and almost turn away, is when she goes down in the basement and she's got the long Stanley blade, and Mia grabs the Stanley blade and licks up it so it splits her tongue, and then her tongue flickers either side. I'm like, oh man, that's the absolute worst. Like, I can't imagine. I know people have that done. They get it cut and they have split tongue. Like, I can't imagine having that done. That's like the worst pain I can think of.
I've like got a paper cut on my tongue before from like licking envelopes, you know, and it's the most painful thing ever. So to see something like that in this movie, you felt it. It was awful.
It's terrible. One thing they do incredibly well in this is not as effective on a rewatch, I'll granted, but the setup of the brother to be the new Ash Williams. He's in the blue shirt. He's literally, it's like they've literally gone, look, it's a young Ash Williams. He's going to be Ash Williams. Look, he's got a chainsaw. He's going to be Ash Williams. And then when he dies, you're like, oh, fuck. He's not going to be Ash Williams. And that, I think that twist and that sort of flick that they've sort of pre-programmed you to think that he is the hero. And for him to die, I think, is an exceptionally clever choice.
Definitely. And I think the thing is as well, and a lot of the times when people make remakes, especially, I know this isn't a remake, but it was very much advertised as a remake at the time of its release. You kind of have to subvert expectations and do something different and unique. And I think this movie does it, but it does it in a way that's a lot cleverer than most, because it spends 80% of the movie leading you down a path where you think this is a carbon copy of what you've seen before, but just a more updated version. And then when you get to the point where they pull the rug from underneath you, you're like, shit, now where does it go? What the fuck's going to happen here? And I think it's a really, really clever part of FedeAlvarez's writing within the script of Evil Dead that he did that. I would not have liked to have seen it, even though it builds you up to expect it. I would have felt underwhelmed by it. I don't feel like anybody, and I think that's maybe why they chose to go down this route, could fill the shoes of Ash Williams in an Evil Dead remake. And I think that's maybe why they decided not to go down that path with it. But yeah, had they have continued and he had have become Ash, I'd have. Yeah, I wouldn't have liked this movie as much as what I did like about it.
No, and I'm with you on that. And I also like the fact that he continuously fails. So he comes up with so many good plans. Like he reads in the book that if he buries his sister and he can then bring her back, like the demon will be gone. He comes up with this great plan where he goes to the shed and more duct tape, and he makes like makeshift like shock paddles,
defibrillator.
Yeah, and like when that all fails, you're like, I really felt for him, and then they just killed him off like he meant nothing. And
well, I mean, he had his hero moment though, didn't he? I don't think he went out like he was a nobody. You know what I mean? He sacrificed himself, which was a very noble way to go out. He still had his hero moment. I'm just glad he wasn't the hero of the movie, if that makes sense. Like, even though Mia necessarily wasn't the hero of the movie,
she 100% was. She was the demon rises. She fights the demon. She gets a car tipped on her hand, and she uses her brute force to pull her hand completely off to sever it so she can get free to take the chainsaw to the demon. She is a hero, because I would have died under that car and not even attempted what she done.
Yeah, all right, yeah, she is. But I mean, like, as a prolonged hero, her brother was definitely more the worthy of the crown, if you will.
Yeah.
She had the last 5 minutes of a hoorah. All right, yeah, it was great what she did. But I mean, he took a shotgun to the chest, or to the shoulder at least, plus multiple nail gun shots to the leg. Had a big fight with a Stanley knife with her in the basement. Like, he had to endure some damage to get to the end. And then he sacrificed himself in order to save his sister, which again was kind of nice because it came full circle with the script and all, with him being a very distant part of her life, but then he gave his own life in order to save hers. cool. I was really on board for that. But I'm not taking away from you the fact that Mia was awesome. Mia is fantastic, but her brother was the hero of the movie.
Yeah, I think he was. Talk blood. Let's talk blood. How much blood did they need to use for this final scene? Like,
Right.
I don't
I
want to
want
say
to talk
it was
about this a lot,
overkill,
actually, because I'm a bit
but
confused about this.
I don't want to say it was overkill, but there's a lot of blood in this final scene. Blood rains from the heavens. And when she sticks the chainsaw in the demon's mouth, I don't think a human or even a demonic body can contain as much blood that come out of her when she stuck that chainsaw in her mouth.
Right, so walk me through this. He buries her, yeah?
Yeah. She comes back.
She dies.
Yeah.
She does die. But she comes back, all right? She comes back. Let's just say the defibrillator works, but it was a bit delayed. She's not possessed at this point anymore. She's cured.
No, but they've taken the 4 victims that the demon needed to return. So the demon needed 4 innocents to die for the demon to return. So as she's revived, the demon then crawls out. So they've changed the law from the original Evil Dead. This book
So where does it state that they need 4 victims for it to...
When Mr. Nosy Guy is talking about it, he's explaining...
Oh, when he's on about how to fix it.
Yeah, and he's like, if this thing gets 4 people, it can then return, and we can't let that happen. And it gets 4, and then it returns.
Right. Okay, right, that makes more sense. What's with the rain in blood?
I think that's just to signify that a demon has risen from hell. It's like,
or is it just to look cool as shit in a movie? Is that what it's like?
I think it's to look cool.
Because it does. I don't want to, it does look fucking awesome. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just curious to know: is it just because it's awesome, or does it serve a purpose?
I think it's just because it's awesome. It serves a purpose, but it's a very tiny. It serves a purpose, but did it warrant 11,000 gallons of blood to serve that purpose? Probably not.
I think so.
Also, I love the fact that they didn't do the tropey thing and stick her in a white dress. Didn't stick her in a white summer dress. They stuck her in a red dress and then soaked her in blood.
Where did the red dress come from that he buried her in? And what was the purpose of the red dress?
No idea.
Because like he purposefully got her changed, which again is his sister, which was weird. Why? I thought there was a reasoning behind it, like she had to be buried in red. And then why did he put a bag on her face?
I don't know. But again, that was cool when she's like...
It was cool, but I don't understand it.
No, I don't understand it either, but I don't think I need to. I don't think this... I think, like all Evil Dead movies, if you dig too deep, you start hitting rocks and you can't dig those rocks out without pulling it all apart. And I kind of...
That's one of the issues I had, because we're doing this for purposes of reviewing. First time I watched this movie, I absolutely fucking loved it. It was the best thing I'd ever seen. And I went into it with that opinion. But then when I watched it, and I'm picking up on critical things to talk about and be like, right, that's a bit annoying. Why is it doing that? Why is it doing this? It's fucking ruined it in a slight sense for me. I'm still think this movie's fantastic, but there's moments in it I'm like, So I'm going to just reel off the things that I didn't like now so we can get them out of the way, and then it's not foreshadowed at the end that I didn't like this movie, because I don't want it to be that.
Okay.
Things that annoyed me. The musical cues. So the score throughout this film is very elaborate. Throughout, it's very grand and it works. But where it doesn't work for me is early on, where you start seeing things that are not necessarily a jump scare. In most typical horror movies that rely on jump scares, they would be jump scare moments where Mia sees the reflection of the ghost in the mirror. You have this loud sound cue. Now, it worked because the consistency of the musical cues throughout this film are very elaborate and very loud and very grand. But in that moment, I was like, that was unnecessary and it didn't need to do that. The shock of the visual alone was enough.
Yeah.
That's issue number one. Minor, we're talking. Second issue, and I don't know how much this relates to Evil Dead lore, because you're more of the Evil Dead guy than I am. I'm a fan and I've watched the movies, but I don't like Evil Dead 3. please don't come at me. I'm sorry.
Uh,
Evil Dead 1, 2, and
Army of Darkness. It's not Evil Dead 3. It's Army of Darkness, and it's fucking
yeah,
awesome.
it's good as an Army of Darkness movie, but it's not an Evil Dead movie.
That's why they called it Army. That's why they called it Army of Darkness. They didn't keep it Evil Dead Army of Darkness, just Army of Darkness.
It's Evil Dead 3 Army of Darkness on my shelf. Don't make me get it down. So, right, the Deadites themselves. So,
yeah.
Right, this is what I couldn't get my head around when I watched it this time around. It really fucking annoyed me. Mia looks the cleanest, polished Malibu Barbie I've ever seen at the end of this movie. And I'm like, I just saw you fucking melt half your face off in a shower, split your tongue in half with a razor blade. How do you look like this now, as opposed to the injuries you've sustained throughout the rest of this movie? And I get it. Right. So, like, let me break this down in a more clearer way, because I get it.
Magic.
No, I get it when you've got, so like when you've got them turning into a Deadite and they have the orange eyes and they're zombie looking. Yeah. I can tolerate the transition from human to Deadite. The same way that you get with, like, in a Buffy TV series where you get vampire and non-vampire. It's a transformation of image as they float between one and the other. That I can tolerate. But when she sustained such a substantial damage throughout this film, for her to look the way she does at the end really annoyed me this time around.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I didn't think that much into it, and I just accepted
it. And I never did. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to be here anymore, and I don't want to do this show because it's ruined this movie for me, because I never would have thought about that any other time other than the fact that I actually had to do it this time around. And when I saw it, I was like, why? Why do you now look like that when you've literally just fucking... There shouldn't be anything left of you by this point.
Do you know, all of our listeners right now are saying this.
I just hate him, I hate him, I hate him.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to do this. I just had to ask. I thought you were going to give me, like, a logical answer and be like, well, no, actually, this is why.
But the reason why is just because. That's your reason why.
I can tolerate just because. I use it frequently. It should be my catchphrase. I'm just saying, this time around, I was like, oh, that's so fucking annoying.
That's what... Do you know, there's one thing in this movie that annoyed me, and it annoys me in every movie that it happens in. She severed her hand at the wrist.
Uh-huh.
She then goes on, sticks her hand in the chainsaw, a stump in the chainsaw, and fucking kills the demon. Really, really cool. Then the sun comes out and she gets bathed in this beautiful white light, and she's soaked in blood, and she just got her arm up on her side. Like, how has she not bled out and died? She's severed her main artery, but she's okay. Like, that's one thing, and it bothers me not just in this movie. Any movie when someone gets their hand severed, unless you cauterize that wound or you tape it up, you will die really, really fast, and it bugs me a lot.
That was my immediate thought, not because of her at the end. I'd already fucking got over it by that point, but when his girlfriend did it and she cut it off with the meat fucking saw, I was like, cauterize that wound immediately. Fuck the gaffer tape. I love duct tape, and it works for everything. You can build a boat out of duct tape, but you cannot cauterize a wound with it. So please put a pan on the stove, heat it up, and melt that shit on her arm.
And I thought exactly, and I also thought the same when he had the big stab in his chest. I'm like, you're in a workshop, fucking heat something up with a blowtorch and just shove it on his chest and just seal that shit up.
Yeah, because I mean, I get cuts all the time. I work in the trade, so I'm constantly, like, my hands now are covered in cuts and bruises and stuff. I've done it before myself where I've tried to tape something up. The amount of blood that comes out just reduces the stickiness, and it doesn't work. Like, you need to... Super glue is a good one. Super glue is a good one. If ever I go to a cabin in the woods, I'm going to make sure I take plenty of super glue with me.
So our cabin in the woods is beer, super glue, and duct tape. It sounds like a really dodgy party. I don't know if I want to go.
We should invite P. Diddy.
No, there's no baby oil. Are we pretty much done, ready to go to an ad?
I think so, yeah. I think I've got everything off my chest that I wanted to. You didn't give me the answers I needed, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I thought you were going to come in at me and be like, this is why, and this is in this law, and Evil Dead. So I should know better. I've seen the Evil Dead movies, and I should know better than to think there is reasoning behind it.
Yeah, you should. And you are ready for your recommended account, I assume?
Of course, I'm always ready.
Do I have a soundbite for? I actually don't have a soundbite for you. We can do this one.
2,000 years later.
So this week's recommended account is Custom Creations on Instagram. Custom Creations is an account that makes replica sleeve covers, posters, VHS sleeves, anything you want really in terms of the media of horror and cinema. I'd never followed this account before, to be honest with you, and I don't know why. They're a UK-based account, and they make some incredible stuff. One of the reels popped up in my Explore page the other day, which was a box set they've created of the Halloween franchise, and they have taken all the original VHS X rental sleeves, but modified them, reshaped them, redesigned them, and made them to suit Blu-ray sleeves. So if you own the Halloween franchise on Blu-ray or DVD or something like that, you can then now purchase from him the original, like sort of the 70s, 80s, and 90s variants of the original cover art that will fit those modern day boxes.
That's cool.
That makes sense. Does that make sense? Am I rambling, or do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, so you get what was the VHS slipcover, but in the size that fits a DVD or a Blu-ray.
Exactly that, yeah, and which I thought was incredible, and all lined up in this Blu-ray box set that he'd made. They looked absolutely fantastic. I've reached out to him. I've done some inquiries. We're back and forth negotiating deals at the moment. I don't actually own the Blu-rays of the Halloween movies because I think you could only get like the first one and then like the Gordon Green trilogy here in the UK, if I'm right in thinking so. I don't know if I'm confusing that with the Steelbook releases, but I know they're really weirdly unavailable in the UK at the moment. So I'm back and forth with him as whether I'm going to purchase these or not. I want them, but I don't want them just to be empty boxes on the shelf, like just because they look fucking awesome because it's an expensive investment. But I need to know more about whether I can actually purchase the discs to go with this artwork or not. But they look fantastic. And I'm just a Halloween fanboy. If you guys are into certain movies, like if you wanted, say, The Shining, but you wanted the original VHS sleeve to match your Blu-ray copy that you've got on your shelf, you can get that. He also does custom work and anything you wanted. If you reached out to him and asked him, I'm sure he'd be very much accommodating, as he has been with me. Fantastic account. So go check him out on Instagram. It's Custom Creations. And as always, drop him a like, drop him a follow, drop him a message, and let him know that the You podcast sent you there.
Hey everyone, I want to talk to you about a couple of the shows that you can get on the You Run Podcast Network by visiting our website, yourunpodcast.com. Now, the first one of these shows is the Pop Culture Reflections podcast. This is a show that's hosted by Justin, who's an incredible guy, and he is so engrossed in the pop culture of our history, be that 80s, 90s, more modern into the 2000s, even stuff that is relevant now in pop culture. And this doesn't just cover movies, it's a TV series, professional wrestling, music, like anything you could possibly imagine. He's got a new series at the moment that he's doing with Greg Hoey from You Gonna Eat That Crust podcast, which focuses specifically on underdiscovered music, so he's definitely worth checking out. The other show I want to talk to you about is the Girl and the Gay podcast. This is hosted by Jay and Becky, and they dive into movies. Not just horror movies, they do action movies, they do romantic comedies. They have a very unique dynamic between them, and Jay hasn't seen a lot of the movies that they cover, which gives a real unique and a real open perspective on things that are considered legacy great movies. Jay might look at them and go, that's dreadful, but it's so authentic and so original that you need to check them out as well. So the Girl and the Gay podcast and Pop Culture Reflections podcast can both be found at yourunpodcast.com, along with all the other members of the You Run Podcast Network. Let's get back to the show.
Thanks Scott.
Please go and make sure you check out Mark's recommended account. Also check out all of the members of the You Run Podcast Network at yourunpodcast.com. Also, the Girl and the Gay podcast managed to do the impossible. They booked the unicorn of podcast guests, and soon you will get to hear Mark, who never guests anywhere on their show. How on earth did they book you? You're hard enough to book for this fucking show.
Well, it was one of those really where like you know I'm like I want to do everything. I want to be involved, and I'm like, people reach out like, oh, we'd love you to come on the show, and I'm like, I would love to come on the show. That'll be fucking awesome. I'd love to talk about this. And they've asked me since they set up the podcast. They've been like, come on, we'd love to have you as a guest. I'm like, yes, I'll come on. And there was one time where I was all geared up to do it, and I think like Margot got really, really sick that weekend, and I was like, look, I can't. I literally can't. As much as I want to, I just cannot be sat in the office for 2-3 hours recording a podcast and leave my wife to deal with vomit and sick everywhere. And that was like the one weekend I was available to do so. So I kind of owed them. And to be honest with you, you were the only reason that I was able to do so is because you went on holiday for 2 weeks. So I had a couple of Fridays free, and I was like, look, guys, this is your moment. If you want me to come on, it's basically now or never. And they accepted, and I went on, and we did one of my favorite movies, which I got to pick, which was Pontypool. And I'm really, really excited for you guys. If you're a fan of this show and you want to hear me talk about one of my favorite horror movies, which is Pontypool, very, very widely unknown Canadian movie about zombies, but it takes a very unique approach to it. Go and check out the Girl and the Gay podcast. I think I'm on there in September. And it's a fantastic episode. I really enjoyed being a part of it. So, but that's me now for probably the next year and a half.
Yeah, exactly.
Until Scott goes on holiday again.
If you want to bookmark in, you need to book him in for 1 week in October, because I've got a week off in October. And if anyone's desperate to bookmark in, send me a DM and I'll let you know the dates I'm away, so you can nab that Friday where he's available.
You can't, because you fucked me this year, because you're going to your sister's wedding when we're supposed to be going for the for Love of Horror. So I'm not going to be available that weekend either, because I'm going to be ripping it up at the For Love of Horror without you.
Let's just not go there. Anyway, check out all of the other members of the You Run Podcast Network at yourunpodcast.com. That's where you'll also find links to our shop, links to all of our social media, and more importantly, our Instagram account, where you can vote for the movies that you want to see on this show. While you're on Instagram, make sure you go and follow my craft beer drinking, VHS collecting host and one of his awesome accounts, Reviews from the Crypt, funnily enough, where he reviews horror movies, and VHS from the Crypt, where you can get your hit of nostalgia, just like the little crack addicts we know you are, which is why you listen to our vintage episodes more than you listen to new releases. If you're not on Instagram, you can't follow Mark, but you can follow us everywhere else. We're at You Run Podcast. Just search that and we'll pop up. It's really, really easy. If you'd like to support the show, you can do that. You can do that by either buying something from our merch shop, or more importantly, going to Patreon, patreon.com/You Run Podcast, where you have a selection of tiers and you get rewarded. Depending on how much you spend, we give you more stuff. So you can get everything from early release episodes, not just of this show, but of true crime, of all the podcast episodes we do. All the way through to having almost full control over the show. You get an extra show depending on what tier you sign up to, where me and Mark do other horror related stuff like our most influential horror movies, or weirdly the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy. And to everyone who's already signed up,
Dark Souls,
thank you so much, because you're allowing us to now do more with the show, which you'll see in a couple of weeks' time, when all of a sudden me and Mark appear in full 1080p 4K, which is coming. It's going to, you know, you and me are going to look at each other and go, "You ugly motherfucker." That's how that's going to go.
Not you, man. I'm glorious. I'm glorious, man.
And modest. I think that's your best quality, is how modest you are. If you can't support us on Patreon, we understand times are tough. Things cost money. We get it. Do one of the free things to help the show grow. Tell a friend, share an episode on social media, leave us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify, comment on Spotify or YouTube, or join our Patreon as a free member. Now, what I've done, and I've spoken to the paying Patreon members, we've come up with something to entice you. So once a week, you will get an early release of one YouTube episode. So at the moment, we release 4 YouTube episodes a week. One of those will come to you, in fact, over a week early. So if you sign up, just sign up for that. You get one free episode, and you get a couple of exclusive episodes that go out to everyone as well. We done one the other day where we updated on Patreon and true crime and what's going on with my movie. Like all of that was done, and it's only on Patreon, but it's for everyone. So go and do that as well. Now, with all that out of the way, let's do some facts.
You have a single fact to back that up?
I do. I have many facts to back that up. This film was an NC-17. Like, it was no ifs, no buts, no nothing. It's NC-17. You can fuck off. You're not getting a general release. You're not getting a rated R.
I don't know what that means, man. I don't understand what that means.
NC-17 is basically unrated, X-rated. So in the UK, it wouldn't go to theatres, and in America, it would be very select theatres. Sam Raimi was happy with that. He's like, yeah, fuck it. And so was
FedeAlvarez.
They were like, yeah, cool, we're happy with NC-17. The studio went, we're not. Like, this needs, we've given you a lot of money. We need a wide theatrical release. So they cut down by 18 minutes to get that.
Ooh, that's interesting, because I can't imagine how much worse this movie could get.
I watched the unrated version for this episode.
Well, where can you get the unrated version?
I'll tell you off air. I'll send you a message.
Is it like a DVD? Can you get it on DVD and stuff now?
Yes.
Can you? Oh, right. Okay. So I didn't know if this was like the Event Horizon Holy Grail unrated version that's buried in a cave in Nevada desert somewhere.
And I'll be honest, it's just it seems that when we went, oh, they stopped there. That's great. It's when they got to the, oh, great, we stopped there. In the uncut version, they went, no, we're going to show you some more of this. Like, there's going to be an extra vine, like lift the skirt up and show her ass. Like, it's just one step. But like when she's mangling her arm, and like you see her mangling her arm, and then it cuts back up to her face. Like it then cuts back to her arm where she gives it a bit more, and it's just like
so all the bits where we were like, they handled this really, really well in terms of restrictions. No, they didn't. The studio handled it really, really well.
Yeah, the studio went up. Can we just dial it back a little bit, lads?
Yeah.
So FedeAlvarez was really keen to do this movie. Like, he was tripping over himself to do it. And one of the reasons he wanted to do it was he felt there was lots of inconsistencies with The Evil Dead. And he liked the idea that he could fall into those inconsistencies and make this a sequel. This is a sequel, not a spiritual sequel, not a soft reboot. This is a sequel on exactly the same timeline. If you look at the picture behind us, that is Mia sat on Ash Williams' car that he left at the cabin. So this is it's 100% a sequel. There's no if, buts, or maybe. Sam Raimi has said it. FedeAlvarez has said it. All of the cast have said it. The writers have said it. Like, it's a sequel. That's
even just the commentary from Ash Williams over the credit sequence alone. I know I personally don't like the after credit sequence where he's
I'm not
groovy. I'm not a fan of that, but I do like the voiceover of him talking about the Book of the Dead and things like that, and his journey of finding the Book of the Dead and what it means and all the rest. That was really, really cool. But yeah, this is the same cabin from the original movie. It's the same car. It's a sequel. Yeah,
it really is. The original plan for this was there was going to be this movie, then there was going to be a sequel to this movie where Mia would team up with Ash Williams and fight the undead.
Did not like the idea of that at all.
That got canned, and it was basically they were going to make Army of Darkness 2 and introduce Mia. That got canned, and that got reframed and reworked into Ash versus the Evil Dead TV series. And that was the thing. And Mia unfortunately got dropped, and then they went on to do Evil Dead Rise. Both Sam Raimi and FedeAlvarez have said they would love to work with the actress who played Mia again and bring her back in this role. Yeah. I'd love to see
if she turns up in Evil Dead Burns. I would lose my shit. I'd be like, fuck yeah.
I would as well. The first letters of all of the characters spell out the name Demon. David, Eric, Mia, Olivia, and Natalie. That's deliberate. Fabulous. Cool. Yeah. Final one. So FedeAlvarez's favorite scene was the one where he, like, the guy has to bury his sister. the fact behind this fucking boggles my mind. Do you know how they buried the actress?
They just buried her, I'm assuming.
They did. They dug a hole. They put a bag over her head, and then he actually buried her alive. She had safety measures in place, like with oxygen and stuff. But the reason they wanted to do it like that was because they wanted his reluctancy to bury her to be genuine. So he's like, when he's shoveling dirt onto her face, covered in a plastic bag, and he's then sucking the bag into her face. Like, he's actually burying her alive.
That's wild.
Wild, and also, like, as an actor, you must be going, fucking hell, I could kill her. Like, this is one shovel of dirt away from being the worst tough movie ever. This cost $17 million to make. How much do you think it made worldwide?
Oh, this was a fucking phenomenon when it came out. 2013, 86, 90.
That is the closest you've ever been in the history of this show. $97 million.
I'm getting better.
You are getting better. It's worrying because it's almost like you're learning after 2.5 years. You're realizing how much movies cost now.
You're treating me like I'm a dog. He's like, oh, he has intelligence. He's growing.
He's a good boy. He's a good boy. When I see you next, I'll bring you a treat and I'll rub your belly a little bit. We have some voicemails. They are the usual culprits, but we love them anyway. So let's see who we've got. We have got...
Okay, happy Monday. I'm about to listen to, or I've just started the Labyrinth episode. I'm going to go ahead and say right now, I do not like that movie. It's not my vibe. I want to listen to the episode because it's just, I try to listen to all of your episodes, but I will say I do not like that film. I'm not sure how you guys are going to rate it. We'll see. I feel like Scott is going to like it from a nostalgic point. Mark, I think you already said you know it's a first watch for you. So for you, you don't have any nostalgia because you're a little young slut. So that makes sense. Like, you know, you're a young boy. Also, Scott, when did you get young blood on the podcast? Because Mark, why do we have to see almost your titties in your shirt? Did you forget to button it, dear? It's okay.
It's very hot here.
Hope you guys are having a good Monday. Gonna finish listening. Okay, bye.
I nearly died when Heather referred to you as Youngblood. Like, nearly died.
We're both Northerners. What can I say? Up the Yorkshire.
Slut!
But as for the titties, though, man, you know, I look good.
They're pecs.
Exactly.
We have a message from Dave. Dave messaged me after he voice messaged me to say, I'm not sure if that's coherent. I'm quite drunk.
Right, okay. That worries me going in.
Okay.
Good evening. I listened to the Labyrinth show this morning. It's now late evening because I've been busy. And it was a very, very funny show. Absolutely brilliant in many ways. Unfortunately, the film isn't. And like some of you on the show, I have that childhood nostalgia. I hated it as a child. That's my nostalgia point. It was rubbish then, and I've watched it multiple times throughout the years because my family growing up forced me to, and then the missus forced me to, and ultimately now it's shit. But that's okay. You like what you like, you don't like what you don't like. But yeah, I can't wait till next month, and The Real Last House on the Left is absolutely fantastic. Yes, difficult at times, but I'm really looking forward to that one in particular. It is.
Yeah, Dave is very clearly drunk.
He is, but I'm putting down the fact that he agreed with you down to the fact that he was drunk.
Of course you are. The funny thing is, right, I don't know. Had you have not told me he was drunk going in, I probably wouldn't have picked up on it. But there was little things throughout that I was like, yeah, all right, Dave.
The thing is, you and me have been very, very drunk, and we know there's that you say a sentence, then you pause and you center yourself before you say the next sentence. So what comes out just doesn't come out as a pa.
Oh, mate, the thing is, I'm always drunk. Like, people who listen to this show would be very shocked by a sober version of myself because I am drunk every week.
There are so many times that after we finish recording, we've sat here and spoken for an hour more, and you've fallen off your chair and taken out half your wall.
Oh, mate, it gets to the point where you're looking at me like, I should probably say goodbye now because Mark looks like he's about to keel.
Yeah, it really is.
I don't care. I don't apologize for it. I don't have a drinking problem. But I have 2 children under 4 years old. This is my night off, all right? And I enjoy it.
Yeah, and I don't have a drinking problem. It's not a problem. I'm quite happy with it. So,
Hi. So I just listened to your RoboCop review, and I just want to thank you guys because every time I tried watching that movie, all I could remember was it had Red from that 70s show in it. So thank you for finally getting the brain's plot and everything to seep into my brain, and keep on arguing about films. Thank you. You know who this is.
That is
Murphy from RoboCop.
No, that's Rowan, and he's left us another message as well.
Oh, additional. Does anyone want to be on my podcast, The Aardvark and Friends Do Red Dwarf, because I'm trying to record Series 10. So, anyone who wants to be on, just let me know.
I speak to that dude all the time. I did not know what he sounded like. I should really listen to more of the network. Great guy. I would love to come on your show because I am a massive Red Dwarf fan. Like, we've spoken about this in direct message. I've shown him my collection. I had them all on VHS up until the point of discontinuation on VHS where they started moving on to DVD. I'm a massive, massive Red Dwarf fan, and more than any other show on the network, that would be the one show that I would pick to go on had I had the opportunity. Yes, I want to come on, but you are Australian, and you record at like 4 a.m. to where I am, which makes it very, very difficult for me. But yeah, I would love to. I would love to go on and do that show with him. So if anybody else out there is a massive Red Dwarf fan, go and volunteer yourself to be on that show because that dude, he dives into some of the strangest stuff I've ever seen on a podcast in terms of like correlation to episodes. Like, I'm a massive fan of certain episodes, and they'll be like, "Oh, did you know that this character was from this episode in a different show and how they tie together?" And then he'll just dissect the full thing for like an hour. I'm like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, he's got a series guests from the Dwarf, and he's just done one at the moment where one of the people in Red Dwarf was in the IT crowd and how that linked together. And I listened to that. I was like,
Richard Aouari. Yeah, I saw that one.
Fucking so clever. One last message. Strap in. It's an excited message.
Okay, guys, so thank you once again for featuring all my messages, my thirsty messages about Michael B. Jordan. I don't take any of that back. It's 100% true. Let's see. Labyrinth, still crap movie. Don't like it. Don't care about it. It hits no nostalgia for me. I don't know. I like musicals in my movies, but I don't care for that. Also, you and Mark in particular were driving me a little mad by saying David Bowie instead of David Bowie. A buoy is the thing in the ocean, right? In the water. I don't know. It's a pronunciation problem. Get your shit together.
You have a pronunciation problem.
Still want to listen to the episodes. I will not go back and rewatch this movie because, again, I don't like it. Also, your guest. I don't want to attack anyone, but whoever doesn't like Sinners, they need to open their eyes and rewatch it once again. Rewatch it. Come on. It's not pretentious. I don't feel like it's stealing anything from any other vampire films, really. I just feel like it was a good movie. We just don't get many good movies anymore. So maybe people are like, I don't know. Anyway, the avocado thing, get the fuck out of here with that. I like avocado because I just enjoy, I like it. I like to eat it. It's also healthy for you. So like, I'm not fucking jumping on any bandwagon and trying to be cool like anyone. I do whatever the fuck I want to do. And if I want to eat 67,000 avocados, I will. I'm not rich enough to afford that many, but still. Come on now. Not everything is pretentious. Let people like what they like. Some people don't like this. They don't like that. Okay, I get it. The Sinners thing, I don't get that. I feel like everyone should like that movie to some degree. But anyways, still a fun episode, you guys. And that's all I got to say for now. Bye.
Bye.
Who in the earth is this Texan hipster avocado eating woman coming on our show telling us how to speak the Queen's English? It is David Bowie. He's an Englishman, and we know how to say his name.
God, the message that's coming next. Anyway, let's move on before we anger the southern states anymore. We'll have, like, I don't know, like, yeah, we're moving on. Caption this. I gave you this image to caption, which is actually a behind the scenes outtake where Mia laughs a lot after she's tried to mutilate the demon on the floor. Dave B Movies. Don't go. I'm finger licking good. Dave, we don't mention it enough. Dave is a really cool review account. He's on TikTok and he's on Instagram, and he does really, really cool reviews, not just of horror, but of everything. And he shares all his stuff that he puts on. What's the review site? I can never remember it.
Letterboxd.
He shares all his reviews and what he's done this month. Really, really cool account. I don't give Dave enough.
He does. He has a weird rating system that I always fucking struggle to understand. So he rates it on pants.
Yes.
And I like sometimes I'll see it like pop up with like 4 pants, and I'm like, oh, that's good. But like the pants are bad, aren't they? So the less pants, the better the movie. And it every time, like as you're like randomly scrolling and you see it pop up, and you're like, half a pants for this? Are you sure? And then it like takes me a moment to figure out that he's like inverted rating system.
But the thing is, it makes you stop because you scroll down. You got like Sinner's got like no pants. You're like, well, why has it got like 0.1 of a pant? What's going on? But it's really clever, and I really like Dave. He's a really, really nice guy. Give me back my horror movies. Went with worst detox ever, and they're a horror podcast. Maiden Macabre. My body watching me continue to drink anything but water. They're a horror creator. One enthusiastic horror fan official. When you listen to Slayer just one time, they're a film reviewer.
Do you know what? When I was watching this movie as well, when that started happening, I was like, I'm assuming you didn't afford the budget to have Slayer in this moment.
Yeah. Big Bad Wolf 884. I'll never let you make I'll start that again. I'll never let you make fruit punch again. Do you hear me? You suck. And they're a private account. And Dewey Pod Monster come in with the most basic, but also the one that made me laugh the most. I am so wet and sticky.
That's giving me the ick.
Yeah, it did give me a little bit as well. They are the Dewey Pod Monster podcast, part of the You Run Podcast Network. Really, really cool account. And I'm not sure if they were commenting on this picture or just like giving a commentary on how they were at the time themselves. We have a new game. It is a game that Mark is going to love because he's not playing it, and neither am I. In a complete twist of fate, you guys are playing it, and you're going to continue to play it until you beat it, which is also a bit of a cop-out because it saves us putting together new games all the time. Not that I've done any market research into games you could play on a podcast, and like this didn't come from that at all. Thank you, Patreon members, for allowing us the funds to do a little bit of market research. This is really simple. I'm going to play a clip, and this audio clip contains 5 horror movies, a sound from each horror movie.
Oh shit, man! I'm just gonna play along. Can you mute my mic for the next bit? Because I'm just gonna be like, "Oh, it's The Shining."
You can play along, and there's only one way you can play, and that is to leave us a voicemail DM on X or Instagram with your answers. If you get any of them right, so if you call in and go, oh, it's this, 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 and this, and this, and you get 3 right, we're going to say this person has got 3 right, but we're not going to tell you what you've got right. The first person to get all 5 movies will win a 3-month free subscription to Patreon, allowing you access to the new show and all of the other stuff as well. Now, I realize that was unfair for the people who are already on Patreon. So if you are a Patreon member, you can still play. And what you will win is you will win a personalized video message from me and Mark saying pretty much whatever you want as long as it's legal. So if you win, you could get Mark to a 2-minute tirade of why Deep Blue Sea is the worst shark movie ever.
I didn't agree to this.
Or you could get me to do a tirade of actually how Jaws is not a great shark movie, and in fact Deep Blue Sea is far superior. Or you can get me to say how wonderful I think Mark's collection of Halloween movies is and how much I love Halloween 4. Like, the options for you as a Patreon member are endless. So
look, I'm just going to say it now. I'm not opposed to taking my clothes off if that's what you want.
But there you go. You can have a topless message from Mark if that's what you want. I tell you what, if that's what you want as a Patreon member, you can win a topless message from us both. I'm going to play the clip. Mark, you need to refrain because everyone's going to know at least one of these. So I'm going to play it a couple of times. So this is the clip you've got. You need to pick out the 5 movies in this clip.
Trick or treat. What have you done?
Eat shit! Move! Give me a break.
Ooh, do you know what? I thought I would have nailed that, but that's actually really difficult. Can you play that again?
Yeah.
Trick or treat. What have you done?
Eat shit! Move! Give me a break.
Okay, I only got 1.
I think you got the first one.
I did get the first one.
Because it probably rubs your soul so badly the wrong way.
It does. It haunts my dreams.
We'll play it one more time. So here's the clip. So turn your headphones up, get ready, and here it comes.
Trick or treat. What have you done?
Eat shit! Move! Give me a break.
So all
I feel like I know the second one as well, but I can't for the life of me think what movie it's from. But I know that second sound cue, and I also feel like I'd probably know the last one as well. But again, I don't have a clue where that's from.
Yeah, and it's one of those that people will know. People will recognize 1 or 2 or maybe 3. And the longer this goes on and the longer it plays, and when people start guessing them and we go, oh, this person has 4 right, it will then narrow down. Someone will win it eventually. But remember, the only way you can enter is with a voicemail on X or Instagram. You cannot DM me. And if you DM me, I'm going to DM back. That's nice. Send me an audio message.
Right. So just for clarification then for the rules, this is going to be a rolling voice note every week until somebody gets all 5 of the ones right.
Yep.
Right. Okay. That makes more sense. So each week we're going to play that soundbite until we get all 5 correctly guessed by an audio message from a listener.
Yep. So one person needs to guess all 5 movies, and I'll play it again one more time before we roll on.
Trick or treat. What have you done?
Eat shit! Move! Give me a break.
That's difficult, man.
Yeah, and I'm going to have to tell Mark when we go off air because I could see Mark at the moment is going, I need to know immediately.
No, I don't want you to. I actually don't want you to, because as people start sending in voice notes each week, I'm going to enjoy the ride of being like, yes, that's brilliant. And then I want to go on the journey with everybody else.
Okay, in which case I won't tell Mark, and Mark can suffer the same as everyone else. And I need to make sure that I remember what movies they are. Otherwise, this could be a very long game. I'm going to round this up first. This is one of the best Evil Dead movies in the franchise. Come at me. I don't care. It sits right up there with Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness for me. The casting is fabulous. I think everyone who is in this movie does a really, really good job of being who they have to be. And making you invest in their characters in one way or another. It is super bloody and super gory, and at no point does it show any mercy to any character at all, ever. Like, there's times where you're like, oh, do you know, maybe he's had enough. And then the film's like, nah, we're going to shoot him in the face with a nail gun one more time, just because it's fun. I think the setup of David as Ash Williams, then subverting that and making it Mia, is a brilliant twist. I find it hard to find faults with this film that live outside of it just being of its time. I think it's a really good, just blood-soaked demonic possession movie. And it's good enough that you could take the Evil Dead IP off of it and release this as, I don't know, demonic woman in a cabin. And I still think it would have done well. The Evil Dead name, it helped, but I think this is, take that name off of it, it is still a great horror movie set in a cabin.
It is. It is.
And it's as much as it is a sequel, it is its own thing. It has elements of the Evil Dead, but I wouldn't say, you couldn't hold this up against Evil Dead 2 and say these are the same sort of movie, because they're really not. There's a few things I didn't like, which I raised in the episode, and I really dislike Eric, the guy who reads from the book. He irritates me purely because I know someone like him who in this scenario would end up getting me killed by a Deadite. And that's Mark, who's clearly looking at his phone.
I'm just reading over the notes I took for this movie just to brief myself my roundup.
Okay, I'm just checking. You're just like zoning out and just like.
Sorry, I do apologise. Usually at this point you just go off on a tangent, so I have a couple of minutes to compose myself. But no, I didn't realise this was a co-contributing effort.
Yeah, I was trying to involve you, and you were just there like a fucking Gen Z, just like.
No. That's fine. That's fine. A heads up would have been nice before we went into it, because considering we've been doing this for 3 years now, that's the first time you've ever wanted audience interaction. But yeah, sure, go ahead, mate. Let's do it now. Of all the times, the 1 week I decide to actually do some research.
Yeah, exactly that. But that's about where I am with it. It's a 4.5 out of 5. I love this film.
Fuck you. You've completely thrown me for a curveball now. Did I miss much? Were you asking me a lot then? Because I wasn't being ignorant and scrolling social media. I was doing work. I was doing work stuff.
I basically said I really liked it. Eric annoyed me because he reminded me of you, and you would inevitably get me killed in this scenario.
Oh, right. Okay. So there wasn't much audience participation then. You just called me out for no reason for trying to work hard for the episode and the podcast. I'll remember next time not to do anything and just turn up and be here as usual.
Well, I was going to say, how is that any different to the last 3 fucking years? This is the one time you've done work. And
exactly.
Now
I'm trying to be a new man, and you've just ruined it now. And now I won't bother anymore. That's it. The moment's gone.
Okay, fine. Well, you give us your roundup then, and we'll call it a day.
This movie was good. Cheers, guys. No, it's a strange one for me, because there was a lot about this movie that I really, really loved. And I remember thinking about when this first came out, how I watched the original Evil Dead as a child and loved it. I thought it was one of the most inventive pieces of horror cinema that I'd ever seen. And that was at a young age as well, before I'd even become so collectively involved in movies like I am by today's standards. I really thought the uniqueness that was the Evil Dead shows through in this sequel. And FedeAlvarez, for me, is one of those directors in modern day horror that always catches my attention.
Yeah.
And it's even cemented it even further more recently with what he did with Alien Romulus, because I'm a big Alien fan. And when he adapted that movie and incorporated it so well to such a well-established lore, I was like, fuck, man, this guy's amazing. I'm not a big fan of Don't Breathe. I like the movie. I think it's a very good movie. I think it was a very unique movie at the time, but I'm not a massive fan of the movie itself.
No, I think I'm with you on that. I think FedeAlvarez, though, is the guy now that if you have a movie you want someone to remake, Like,
or
he must be.
incorporate a new vitalization. Like, he would have done very well with the Halloween franchise, given what Gordon Green did. He would have done a better job, in my opinion. I think Gordon Green did a good job with the first one, but FedeAlvarez would have probably taken that to leaps and bounds in comparison to what Gordon Green did. He's very good at doing his research. He's very good at incorporating well-established laws and paying homage and not being disrespectful to already established storylines, characters, groundwork, and all the rest of it. He excites me as a director, even though I bitched a little bit about Don't Breathe. I think it's a visually and well-written movie. It just wasn't necessarily catered to my tastes in horror. There was a few issues I had throughout that film that really turned me off, and I think more of that comes towards the last act than it does anything else. But that's by the by. I'm not talking about Don't Breathe right now. For me, I think this is a really, really groundbreaking movie in terms of its release, and that's due to the contents of its violence and its gore. This was not something that happened in this time period of horror.
No.
We were very much a remake slasher era movie in the late 2000s era, 2010s era, with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the Friday the 13th and the Nightmare on Elm Street. And this was very much advertised as a remake of that sort of setting. However, this just took on a level of its own. And I think that showcase, I don't know what the box office returns were. Oh, we spoke about it.
97 against 15.
Yeah. The box office return for this showcase that enough itself. Like, this movie, I remember it just being fucking everywhere. People were talking about it. Kids who weren't old enough to see it were talking about it. And it was very reminiscent of the original release of the Evil Dead movie, where it was like, it's banned, you can't see it. And people were like knocking about bootleg copies of it between friends and streets and neighborhoods and stuff so everybody could see it. And it was one of those when this came out. I remember it. And it was not, I hadn't seen that with a movie before, especially in my lifetime. You know, I heard stories about things like that, and this movie was banned everywhere and no one could see it. And this movie, although it was very readily available in cinema, parents were like, no, you can't watch this, you can't watch that. And there was kids and friends that I knew were like passing it around and be like, oh, so-and-so's got a copy of Evil Dead, we need to watch it. I think it was really, really well done. I think the practical effects are what amplifies the vision of brutality throughout this movie. Had they not been so well done and so well crafted, it would have really hindered the experience of this movie overall. So I think that's major props to this film, is how well that they are done. The characters themselves, yes, we spoke about how generic of the times they are and all the rest of it, but Jane Levy, who plays Mia, is just absolutely mind-blowing in terms of the range she's expected to deliver throughout this film, going from traumatized addict to sweet teen at the end to the actually horrific acts she has to commit throughout this movie but still play them. It's such a wild range of emotions she has to display throughout. I'm just so confused as to why she hasn't had such a spectacular career off the back of this movie, and why she's not so relevant anymore. I remember she did Don't Breathe, and then she did this, whichever way around that was. And then after that, she just knocked off onto like B-movie horror movies. And I don't get it. I don't understand why, because she's so talented and so creative. And again, we spoke about how you would like her to see her come into one of the next movies. And we don't know a lot of details about Evil Dead Burns, which is coming out next year, which I think is great, because we didn't know anything about Evil Dead Rise up until the point when that movie came out.
Yeah,
there was no tidbits, there was no plot lines. It just literally came out, and we all just fucking loved it.
And still our longest episode at 2 hours 50 minutes. If anyone wants to go back and listen to it,
And I hope they do the same thing with Evil Dead Burns. But I'd be lying to you if I said it wouldn't be amazing if Mia turned up in that movie.
If she rocked up, like midway through, you get the main protagonist of that struggling, and all of a sudden you hear, and she takes a demon's head off. I would lose it would be an Avengers Endgame level, lose my shit in the cinema.
Exactly. And I think of more than any other character, she's more fitting to that situation because of her addiction, and this is her now addiction. I'm an addictive guy. I've got a very addictive personality. If you follow my social media pages, you will know. Hence, I used to have very unhealthy addictions. I used to be addicted to smoking, drinking, recreational drugs as a child. You know,
At 9 years old.
As a teen. Well, as a teen, as a child, you know, like I have a very, very addictive personality, and I think one thing to me that really stands about this story is how relatable it is, and the troubles and stuff that she goes through. It would make more sense to me that she would then become so obsessed and controlled by this hunt for this because of losing her friends and her family, and it would be a good replacement and a substitute to her addiction to drugs. Getting massively sidetracked about how awesome Evil Dead Burns could be if I wrote it. Anyway, I love this movie. There was a lot of things about it that I didn't like this time around, which I've showcased already on this episode. I'm not going to repeat them. It gets a 4.5 out of 5 for me. Had you have asked me what this movie was before I had to go and rewatch it for this episode, it would have been a straight Full House. It would have been a 5 out of 5. There was just a few little things throughout that I just picked up on that I was like, that's not aged very well. That's a little bit unnecessary. And it's not because it's bad things. It's just things that popped up. And I was like, you didn't need to do that. The scene was impactful enough without it. Again, it's nitpicks. It's minor flaws, but it just was enough for me not to warrant a Full House for it. So it's a 4.5 out of 5. Fantastic movie. Fantastic remake, sequel, however you want to perceive it. This movie is fantastic.
It is, but don't perceive it as a remake because it's not. That brings us to a close of another wonderful episode here on the You Run podcast. Next week, we are back with a newer release, one that I have seen and Mark hasn't, and it is the most excited I've been about Mark watching a movie because it is Bring Her Back from
Philip Brothers. I like that.
Yeah, it's talk to me if they dialed the knob up to 11 and then kept turning till it snapped off, then kept turning it after it exploded to the point there's just a guy stood there spinning a knob in thin air.
Do you know what's so wild to me, right? I watched the trailer for the new Spinal Tap movie today. Did you know they was making a Spinal Tap 2?
Yeah, I saw it.
And like you just said then, like, oh, they turn it up to 11. And it's like, we use that in so many different ways throughout our daily life. And to think that that came from the fucking B movie that is Spinal Tap, that everybody's now like, oh, and it turns it up to 11. It's like, that all came from a shitty Marshalltown amp where they have a long debate about turning it from 10. It's like, well, why not just make 10 louder? It's like, well, no, because this one goes all the way up to 11.
Exactly.
And now we use that all the time.
Next week is going to be wild because whatever Mark's take on that movie is, if you've seen it already, you know. If you haven't seen it, make that your homework. I will tell you now that it is streaming and you can pay like £13 to get it. It is worth every single fucking penny and more so.
It is, but also if you live in a time of crisis, drop me a DM. I have links.
Fuck's sake, you get us banned from every network going. But until next time, Kandu, Estrada, Montus Kanda, or if you're old school Evil Dead fan, Klatu Borado Niktu.
Is it different?
Yeah, they changed it for this one.
But they are different books.
Different books, yeah.
Which is established more in Evil Dead Rise. It's another conversation. See you next week, guys.
Okay, bye.
You want to die tonight?
Jokes you tell sets the scene. I hang on every word lost in the screen. Your passion for fear is contagious enough. You make me believe in Mark's overblown roundups. You run podcasts for a movie review, unveiling facts and playing games too. Your words paint pictures of darkness and dread, leaving me grinning long after I fled. But playing games too. Your words paint pictures of darkness and dread, leaving me grinning long after I fled. Thank you for taking us on this chilling ride, when nightmares roll free and comedy collide. With your podcast we laugh and cringe, but your content is so good we can't help but binge. You want podcasts, you want podcasts.
The trees have learned violence.